brands would have some concepts that are working. Let's say it's like a talking head video or billow videos or whatever it is. Like that's one style, but they can be chopped up and used in a bunch of different ways. And I can give you the process that we do that works for others, kind of doing a paradigm shift. Because I think like the thing that everyone needs on the creative side isn't the here's how to do it X, Y, Z. It's here's how to make the connections of how to do it yourself, but here's the recipe. Because you can make the recipe however you want, more chocolate chips or you want less sugar, but you want like a general playbook. I think that's what I try to do with like this iteration thing. So basically I start the process a couple ways. So I'll just load up my thing here. So I actually have it here. So I have like a general template, and it's basically like a workshop where I have, this is all you need to like generate a ton of ideas. So I have 3 questions. What's in the backlog? What inspires you? And then what's worked? And what each of those mean are, for what's in the backlog, it's what things do you want to test or you're planning to test, you just haven't tested yet. For example, let's say for MediaBuyer.com, let's say you wanted to make some new ad concepts where, you want to like interview people in community, or you want to like chop up past community calls. Like maybe those are all like brainstormed ideas, like stuff that you want to do. You just like, I don't have the bandwidth or I don't know how I'm going to use it. So that's kind of like, typically people have a ton of these things listed, and I just say like list everything, get as many people from the team as you can that can list it, get your strategist, get your editor, get your founder, get the media buyer, get everybody who has a different point of view, and then let them say like, here's what we should test. Once you have that, then I keep a list of like what inspires you, because what you'll find is the backlog is pulled from the inspiration, and the inspiration I think is the most important thing, and I'll give you a resource of where we get our inspiration from. But for the most part, like pull inspiration from what exists in the ecosystem. I like to pull things from, like, if you're a software company, pull from e-commerce. If you're an e-commerce company, pull from info or SaaS. Don't like pull directly from competitors, because everything's gonna start looking the same. If you want clear differentiation, then just start cross-pollinating. That's my belief. So I can tell a lot of like people's backlog based on this. So like, let's say for example, Upwork is an inspiration to MediaBuyer.com, or anything else, right? Like a lot of the decisions in the backlog will be predicated on what inspires you. But if you're like, the thing that inspires me is athletic greens, like AG1, or ClickFunnels, or consulting.com. They're just random examples. The style of like how these are made will determine this. And then the last thing is what's worked, and that's typically from the ad side of like what formats have worked, what messages has worked, what target audience has worked. So like, at All About Vibe, we were like a personalized gifting brand, and the best purchasers, or the ones that we had the most scale with, were the customers that were buying us gifts, and it was people that were crying, not laughing, and it was a very seasonal product. But that's what worked. But there's so many other things that could have been tested I just didn't know, because I never like filled in my backlog. I just kept iterating on like the same thing. So all my ads started looking the same, my strategy started looking the same, my CPA started going up because there's no diversity in the account. And I had to basically repopulate what inspires me. So like new inputs to get new outputs. And let's say that like, and I'll show you a finished one so you can see like how a whole thing works. If like product being gifted is like the best thing to iterate on, then you just take like product being gifted, and then you can say, how do I want to iterate on this? Let's say like I really want to understand, what does that mean, product being gifted? Like gifted to mother, gifted to father, gifted to kid. So let's say I have like a UGC mashup that's working really well. All I'm going to do is take the exact same format and just do hook A, and then base 1. So like, I'm just gonna change the hook where it's just being gifted to the mother first, and I just cut that up and start it there. And I'm gonna do like 5 versions of those. So it's super easy to launch that because you probably already have a backlog of content. I know we did. And like they're just sitting there and you just don't know how to put them together. My theory is like, if you want to test this, just like, you can even do this. Just keep the base the same, and now you do like, I'll say mom hook A for context. And then you can do dad hook A, base 1. So now like if you do this across the board here, you'll know like, all right, same base, different hooks. There's 30 ads already here if you really wanted to, or 25 ads. You can make 10 versions of mom if you wanted to. Then if there's a direction that works better, like father, like gifting to father works, like seeing a dad being gifted to, then you can start playing with like reactions. So you can say like gifted to father crying, gifting to, like if the reaction of the gift was like this, or like surprised. So now if, let's say laughing works, I know being gifted to a father, when he's laughing as his reaction on video outperforms, I just basically created a new thing here, which will influence what I'm doing back here. Like I need to get more videos that have that, and that influences my content team to go source that stuff.
And then you can get so specific around like what are the individual hooks or the individual iterations that maybe for whatever reason, we might not even know why, are crushing it.
Yeah, the hardest thing for a media buyer is getting the creatives quickly. And if like they request new, like for me, my pain point was like when I needed creatives now and I found something that was working, but I needed to validate that that thing wasn't a fluke. If I have to go do a photo shoot or like source from an agency or do all those things, like by the time the ad gets made, the thing already burnt out or it was just a fluke. For me, I'm like, if I have a base that works, just give an editor, or even I can edit it myself, or a media buyer can do it themselves. You just take the hook, you just put a video right before it. You can do it in CapCut, you can do it in Premiere, and you just test those things, export them, name it properly so you know what it is. And you're like, cool, I have stuff just being piped in that account all the time. This buys me time for like new concepts. But that's my way of like doing that. I won't go too deep into this, but like these are all the different ways, just some that you can iterate on. Like, let's say you have mom hook that works the best. Like we classify our videos as like there's a hook, there's an intro, there's a body, there's a close, which is like a CTA basically. You can iterate on all those different things. Let's say you have the best hook, like maybe you don't have to change on the hook. Maybe you have like a banger hook. Then just change the next part where people start dropping and you just do iterations there, like different stuff to get people in. Maybe you drop in social proof, maybe you do like exaggerated stuff, maybe you do split screens. And you do the same process here, but just on that section. And like you can iterate on headline banners versus TikTok overlays. You can do talking head versus demo versus reaction. And then you can do like 4 grids, 3 grids, like, putting multiple things on a certain frame. You might do like this was really interesting to test myself, where I was like, I really needed content, but I didn't want to edit anything. So I took the raw UGC or raw content and I just ran it as is. Like there was no edits, there was no headlines, there's no captions, there's no cuts, there's nothing. And that worked well. And then when I saw that was working well, I was like, oh, sweet. Let me see what that does with a headline banner or a TikTok overlay. Let me see what that would be if I cut the video up. And I would just try to beat the control. So that was like, there's so many ways you can take this whole thing. It's just being scientific about it, not just random. I'll give you a finished example of what I do with somebody else. He's in the info space. So like, there's Hyros. So you can see like this brand, like to him, he wanted to test a Toronto angle, or like, you can get 100 leads per month. And the brands that he's inspired by is like adspin.com, Charlie Morgan, Becker, who has like the Hyros ads that he's pushing. So these people, right? What he wants to create, like this is what's working for him, like photos and customer testimonial mashups. My answer is like, don't recreate anything. Just take your existing mashups. What worked about them? Take your photos. What worked about them? just throw them into Canva and just change one thing. Change the text, change the persona. Like I would take this process and feed that to this whole iteration cycle and just get ideas of what you would do. And I would test 60% of the things on things that are proven to work and 40% of the things that are experimental, like these bets. Like you hedge it, where like you know that 60% of the time you're probably going to get something that is not going to be this crazy win, but it could be linear, like 10% improvement, 5% improvement. But you have these like side things where like, for couple wedding photo, instead of doing a regular photo, like you can do some crazy animation, or you do this, you turn the photo into like an AI thing, and if it starts working, great. Now you have couple wedding photo turned AI, and you do the whole process all over again. So my answer is like, take what works, deconstruct why it works, and then just change one piece of it, and then don't overcomplicate it. Like you don't have to go like this crazy. This was like really simple to do. This took 5 minutes, and we got them like 35 ads. And like from here, like you just then, if this worked, you just do more of this. That's pretty much it.
What are some of those other pieces of content that maybe a business doesn't realize could be helpful for something like this that they could actually utilize, whether it's testimonials or anything else?
My answer to everything is the customer. I think the customer is the most important but underappreciated and overlooked asset in entire business. I think people, and I had this problem too when I was a media buyer. Is once you start hitting scale, and you start seeing people as a purchase or a CPA versus an actual person that can give you insight. And when I switched the model to, I'm just going to build a community with an e-commerce brand versus, just scale up to infinity and add zeros to my ad account, I started seeing that people have profile pictures, and people have interests, and people have personas, and people post comments, and you can engage with them. And those comments and those questions can be turned into content, and people can give you testimonials, which can be turned into content. And then you can put those testimonials together to make more content versus like doing these photo shoots and doing all these things. So my answer is like the customer. If you just ask people for help, or ask them for a piece of content, or like ask for permission to share something they wrote, as simple as like a customer service email, you can literally, if you have a good customer service email, take a screenshot of that, put that in Canva, and just like, that's an ad. If you really wanted to run that. Simple as that. You can take like your customer reviews and reformat them in a way, and like you can turn those into a video. Like you can have a video of a review playing, and then you can overlay that with like static pictures of reviews. But the way that you solve that, I'll just show you this example. I just have like a bunch of boards here. I'll just show you 3 of them. You just have to constantly like input new ideas, and like, new ideas can be like your point of view. Like if you see this, you'll get different ideas than I got them, because I'm looking at them from a different lens, but like you can just show like an us versus them video, and like that's super simple customer video. You might even have like existing content to do this. If you want to do like a before and after, like you can just do stuff like that.
Mm.
But the idea is like you want to keep recirculating ideas, and then as soon as like you see this and you get no more inspiration from it, you have to keep looking for more stuff. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think too many people in the space will copy or just follow the same brands over and over again. Those brands are innovating from somewhere else. They're pulling from maybe 15 different brands. I like to look at like, what are the brands that I'm looking up to? Who are they looking up to? And then how can I go look at the source? And you're going to get the same inspiration that they're getting from, which will mean you'll get the same output. It's kind of like genius output comes from genius input. So just look at the output or the inputs of what the people you look up to are, and then you get the same result.